All right, quick video. Because this is just more of the same. You see this kind of damage control, blame the audience. Every time they know something is going to bomb. They did it with, Elizabeth Banks did it with that Charlie's Angels movie. It's like, this movie's not for men, it's for women. And then as it comes out, it gets closer, and people indicate they're not going to go see it. It goes, oh, men need to see this movie. It has to be a success. Well, you're going to have to pick your narrative right from the start. Gee, Birds of Prey, would you like to change the title any more times? Click the links to subscribe to the channel, or go to Subscribestar and the various other video platforms, Odyssey, Bit Chute. So what happened with this, and what's happening with a lot of other shows, basically everything I've seen on the horizon, let me say, looks like it's going to be a bomb. Every new show I have seen, from Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings, to this, to anything that's coming down the pike from Disney or from any other streaming service, it's going to be woke. It's going to be really woke, and it's going to be a bomb. Yeah, they canceled the Batgirl stuff. They canceled it because it looked cheap, not because it was too woke. Everything is going to be woke, and everything is going to bomb. Nobody. This is Disney, right? So nobody. What does a bomb mean? It means Disney makes money on monthly subscriptions, and also kind of selling its product brand, its image, which is in deep feathers today, because the whole Florida stuff, and like Disney, it looks like Disney is dirty. They're not, like, they haven't just tarnished their reputation. Like, people look at Disney now and they go, oh, this is not the Disney of the 90s. These people are dirty people. But they're also selling, like, they're selling the monthly subscription. They're selling the vibe of the name is supposed to be associated with family-friendly stuff. You go to the park, you buy the T-shirts and coffee mugs, and if there's other tie-ins with, like, a fast food something, it's selling, like, there's a lot of associated products that come with more than just the streaming service. Streaming service is a big part of it, but there's a bunch of other stuff, and that name is in very, very much tarnished, to the point of I don't see a way of them turning the Disney brand around. Because what's Disney brand associated with now? It's associated with these people brainwashing kids into degeneracy. Like, Disney dials back the violence on shows, but then they've got stuff with, like, drag queen kids. And you look at Disney, you're like, oh, this is Sodom and Gomorrah level stuff. Like, all the stuff the Christians were trying to warn people about back in the 80s. It feels like, oh, they might have been annoying, but it feels like they were right about Hollywood. Ugh. Gosh. And yeah, as it turns out, yeah, they were right about Hollywood. So what happened with this show and with all other shows is they're going to bomb. Ms. Marvel, nobody's going to sub to Disney, and not only subbing to Disney, but they also need background filler material, which is what this stuff is. It's just stuff to go on the shelf to retain viewers, so people think, okay, I pay $15 a month. There's a lot to choose from. Yes, I'm not watching it all, and it's not all great, but there's so much to choose from. Some of it must make it worth $15 a month. So to that extent, maybe people, the best that this show could do to retain viewers were if people saw it on the digital shelf offering and they never watched it. Because if they watched it, then they would probably realize, oh, I'm just throwing $15 away. But there's nobody is going to sub to Disney to watch Ms. She-Hulk, and nobody's going to sub to Amazon Prime streaming video to watch Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings. The buzz of Lord of the Rings on Twitter, even from left-wing people, who you can tell from their profiles are admittedly left-wing people, they're not right-wing trolls, it looks horrible. And the buzz is like, oh, yeah, they're probably just going to skip this one. So they're not going to get... Amazon's... like I said yesterday, that is going to be the biggest bomb in movie history. They paid $250 million for the rights to that limited scope of the Lord of the Rings universe. And now if that was in the hands of anyone normal, it would be just a money printing machine. But it's in the hands of Amazon. So, and they've already put like $400 million into it, some ridiculous amount of money. There's no way that is a path forward to profitability. There's no freaking way. And they haven't put as much money into as She-Hulk, which... anyway, so the buzz of She-Hulk is like, yeah, this is going to bomb, but it's not like this is just one part of the Disney machine, which looks, I swear to God, it looks like Disney is going down in flames. How many losses can you come out with? Eventually, Disney's going to have to turn its brand around and come out with some hits. They can't. They painted themselves into this bizarro, woke, globalist corner where now to be family friendly is to like be like a fascist now. It's like, to go back to what people had, this brand name recognition of Disney in the 90s, like Disney was trustworthy. That's all gone now. I don't see a path for them to turn that around. If you let me know, I think you'd have to fire the entire board and the people at the top. It's like, well, so that the only way to do that would be if the board suddenly got a come to Jesus moment and decided like, oh, we're going to have to make some money, otherwise this company's going out, or somebody else bought, controlling interest of the stock or something like that. I don't think it's going to happen internally. These people are true believers at Disney and at Amazon, everything else. So what happens with the buzz on social media, which is why these people are so desperate to deplatform channels like Gary Neurotic, Yellow Flash, anyone who they would call, like, no, those guys aren't alt-right, but they would call those guys like, oh, the alt-right YouTube, contingent. And like they're calling that Neurotic guy, that Gary, that, the 50-year-old guy who's just a kind of a middle of the ground ex-stoner type. They're calling it like him and Yellow Flash and EVS and all, like, oh, that's the far right, extreme right YouTube. There's nobody on the right on YouTube. They've all been kicked off like 3-4 years ago. After Trump won, they decided like, oh, we're never going to allow somebody like Trump to win again. And to be fair, YouTube played some small part in it. That's why they got rid of Alex Jones first. Anyway, that's why they want to deplatform all those guys, because they're sending up this message like, oh, this stuff looks horrible, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, it really does look horrible. And so the thing is now, a lot of this, these shows are coming out. It's not just the right wing, or it's not even fair to call like Comicsgate, Phantom Menace right wing. It's slightly right of center. They're not the only ones who are looking at this stuff and saying this looks horrible. To say the CGI looks like obvious low budget CGI, it looks like a video game. It's not just the right winger saying this. There's everyone across the board is looking at shows like this and go, wait a minute, this feels like you took a step back, to the point where the CGI is so bad, why didn't you just use human actors like in the old Lou Ferrigno Hulk? Because I know the Hulk, the male Hulk, is a firmly established CGI character, but it's like people are willing to cut you some slack for a show. You would have been better off finding a male and female bodybuilder, or powerlifters. They don't have to be necessarily shredded. Just find the tallest actors you can find who are buffed, paint them green, and then that would look better than this bizarro CGI. It's like, we know you filmed this in a blue room with characters in blue suits, and the whole thing looks artificial. It looks like the ending of Wonder Woman, where there's that fight scene and she's rolling around on what's supposed to be wet concrete, and you see it, it just doesn't impress. Like, the gravity and the physics just aren't quite right. And then you go, oh, she's on a green screen rolling around. Gal Gadot is not rolling around in wet concrete. It's like none of that felt right. And they did it, they're trying to use CGI. It's like the CGI technology, even right now today, is not ready to do a lot of the stuff you want to do. Lord of the Rings 20 years ago, for some reason that CGI actually looked pretty effective. But like what you're going to see in Rings of Power is going to be horrible. This looks horrible. And there's a couple other shots of, I don't know if this is the actor, but there's a bunch of other shots of like CGI, and you're like, yeah, they're not talking to anybody there. It clearly looks like CGI. Anyway, so the buzz of this looks horrible. And it's not just the alt-right YouTube Nazis saying it looks horrible. It's people on the left. Everyone is looking at this, because there's left-wing people who, they're not all transformative. Some of them are curative. They want to see good stuff. And She-Hulk has a following in the comic books. Like, a lot of people liked her character in the comic books. To be fair, a lot of people like Captain Marvel in the comic books too. I know she had a bunch of different changes over from a male, but people like these characters, the older comic books, and then you see them on screen. They're like, even the left wing looks at this, goes, just kind of, maybe you should stick to making comics that kind of feel like the the comic books. Like, no, that is a bridge too far. That supports the patriarchy or something, and you're all sexist. So what they do with this, and what they do with POC characters, if you don't like it, you're stophobic. If you don't like this female character, she goes, talking about the CGI, which looks friggin', you can see it. You can go look on YouTube, the previews. She says, in terms of the CGI being critiqued, I think this has to do with our culture's belief in the ownership of women's bodies. What do you mean, our culture? Did you mean you? And she goes, this is what they do. They do this bizarre straw man where they try to draw, like, hello fellow, my fellows. They try to draw everyone into this guilt, this blame game, and you look at it and you're like, wait a minute, I don't believe what you think I believe. That's a straw man. Are you saying you believe you own women's bodies? That just seems like a bizarro straw man argument to make for what is going to be a bombing show. Oh yeah, but if it bombs, it's because of the chads on YouTube and Twitter who didn't like the show. Oh, okay, so it's not the director's fault, and it's not the writer's fault, and it's not... Okay, I think it's an all-woman crew writing this. I mean, they literally cannot define woman, so technically it could be an all-biologically male crew writing this who identify as women, but ironically, then it would be a good show because it would be better written because, you know, not to put too fine a point on it, men are obviously better writers than women. Sorry about that, but it's, you know, it's true. So she knows this is going to bomb, and she's doing damage control. This is dead on arrival. Lord of the Rings of Power is dead on arrival. Any new thing that's coming out from Disney, from Amazon, is going to be dead on arrival. They just canceled some interracial lesbian vampire thing, where I think it was the white girl was the vaguely shady antagonist, and the POC girl was the purse puppy Mary Sue. I don't know if she was blonde, because if she's blonde, then you know they're going to make her be, of course, everything bad and subversive is going to be attributed to the blonde girl, as I say. Anyway, this is going to be horror. Oh yeah. That looks like a freaking video. I'm fingernails clean. That looks like a freaking video game. Even for streaming, this is probably an actor in green makeup, and it still looks like a video game. Like you don't have to. Okay, so this is the main actor. It's not gonna fly. I'm sure she's great. And there's another Mary Sue article I'm gonna cover for Odyssey and Bit Chute because it's too un-PC to talk about on YouTube about she's going from curly hair to straight hair, and that bothers Julie Glassman at the Mary Sue. Because she's insane. Everyone at the Mary Sue is freaking insane. But it just like has some hot words and hot topics I can't talk about on YouTube. So this is the main actor. You know, I guess it was like 50 Shades of Grey. You didn't want to pick someone who was good looking or like good looking enough to distract you from the show or something. But you know, I'm sure she's a great actor, and you know, if she's your favorite, I'm just saying, you catch more bees with honey or flowers or something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, maybe just get some hot blonde chick, some hot blue-eyed blonde chick in the shows. I want to see more hot blue-eyed blonde chicks in bikinis in shows in general. Just more hot chicks in bikinis. The blonde hair, blue-eyed underrepresentation, or maybe red hair, green-eyed. I'll go for that too. Or even dark hair but blue eyes like Irish girls or something. I want to see more of that and less of this. Ooh, how do I say this next part? I guess I don't, and still remain on YouTube and get that $1 a day. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on Subscribestar. Thanks for the recent sub. You too can join at $2 a month on Subscribestar, and a very sincere thank you to those who have subscribed.